Hello and welcome to my review of the new thriller Limitless, starring Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro. Limitless is the story of down-on-his-luck writer Eddie Mora, played by Bradley Cooper, who stumbles upon this pill that allows him to access 100% of his brain. This essentially makes him a genius and allows him to attain great levels of fortune. But with great power comes great danger. Cooper soon falls in with the likes of an evil businessman played by Robert De Niro, who wants to exploit Cooper's powers, a gangster who wants to steal Cooper's supply of NZT, which is the drug he's taking, and also the deteriorating side effects of said drug. I'm happy to report that we have another solid, if flawed, thriller on our hands here that's elevated by some very interesting filmmaking. But before we get into that, let's talk about the thing that really does anchor this film, and that is our lead performance, Bradley Cooper. I always knew he had it in him. Bradley Cooper is a great leading man. Not only is he extremely charismatic and very funny, but he's also just very believable and is surprisingly a very, very good actor. In a way, he's kind of like the ideal leading man you'd want in a film like this. What's most impressive is that this character pretty much has three stages: the down-on-his-luck loser, the hyper-smart genius, and the deteriorating genius. And he makes all three sides of this character extremely believable without having to change his personality too much. He always feels like he's very rooted in the same character. And the few scenes where he really does have to act and desperate and emotional, I really believed him, which was surprising because in most of the movies he plays, he always does play the cocky, arrogant guy who you really know doesn't give a crap about anything. But in this film, he really shows that he's very, very well-rounded. And he holds his own with De Niro, who's also very solid in the film. I really think Bradley Cooper is going to have a long future in the movie business, and I look forward to what he's going to do next. The other thing I really like about this film is the arresting visual style. This movie is directed by Neil Burger, who previously did The Illusionist, and the visuals in that movie, while still a good film, kind of put me to sleep. This film, it's just the opposite. From the opening credits of this film where he zips through the city of New York using a zoom to where you kind of have to look in the center of the screen to make sure you don't get vertigo, to just the use of metaphorical shots when Bradley Cooper's taking the drug for the first time and light bulbs are going off and the wheels on a bike are ticking back and forth slowly. Berger knows how to use these visuals to really make you feel what the main character is feeling. Another good example is, and I'm not going to give away too much here, but there's a scene where Bradley Cooper discovers that one of the side effects of this pill is that his brain skips time to where he basically teleports to another moment in time. And Berger makes it as incoherent as Cooper is feeling, because he'll be walking somewhere and then all of a sudden you'll look away for a second and he'll be in a completely different location and you're just like, what? And the way that he just puts you into the head of the main character and really makes you feel like you're there is something that I haven't seen in a little while from a director. This film certainly is a masterclass in how to use the camera to your advantage. All my issues with this film are story-related. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the story of this film. It was very solid and entertaining. But I do think that if structured a little better, this movie could have maybe even been a masterpiece. The beginning of this film is just about perfect. It really gets you into it, introduces the main character, and shows how pathetic he is when he gets the pill, it's really satisfying. But once we get into the middle of the film, it kind of convolutes itself and turns into kind of a Wall Street film. And while I realize that certainly would be a prevalent part of anybody who could use it 100% of their brain, they make lots of money. But I think the money angle of this story could have been used to where Robert De Niro's character could have been more intimidating. If this movie had been a straight-up crime film, because there are criminal elements of this film, like the gangster who's chasing him. If this had just been a crime film, and it stuck to being a crime film, it would have been so much better. We would have been able to see Cooper play with what are the right and wrong ways to use this pill a little more, and also it would have just felt more coherent with some of the other stuff going on in the film. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the story of this film despite not living up to its potential and feeling a tad incoherent at times, but I think that also kind of benefited it because that's how he's feeling. It's such a fast-paced change for him that it should feel like a fast-paced change for us. And the Wall Street stuff isn't bad, I'm just not particularly interested in it. And it certainly doesn't ruin anything. Overall, Limitless is a very solid thriller. Not as good as The Adjustment Bureau in my opinion, but very close. Bradley Cooper gives an excellent performance, and this film really throws you into the shoes of its main character. I'm going to give Limitless 3.5 stars out of 4. It's very solid, it's very fun, and it's extremely entertaining, and I highly recommend you guys go see it. If you like this review, subscribe to my channel because there'll be plenty more videos coming up.